All right, all right, all right. You know what time it is. We back again, baby. The Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast.
Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast, yeah.
We got 2/3 of greatness going on right here. Your boy Julian is here. James is back. Say what's up, James.
What up?
And as you could tell, Brandon is not here. I don't know where he's at. I don't know why he's not here, but I do know that in the two leagues that James, Brandon, and I are in together, he has not won a game yet. So I don't think he wants to show his face. With that being said, we're going to move on through the season. We like to talk about, is this news or is this nothing? And then also give some advice on what to do waiver wire wise, how to carry about your team, trades, things like that. Our first segment, again, at the end of week 3, news or nothing. It's news or nothing. And in regards to, we need to have Chuba Hubbard long term because Christian McCaffrey does have a sense of getting hurt. And we recorded our last podcast Thursday right before CMC got hurt during the game. Do we need, if you are a CMC owner, do you need to trade for Chuba Hubbard? Do you need to try to get Chuba Hubbard? Or is it not a big deal? Is it nothing? CMC will be back soon. What do you think, James?
So and here's my take, and you know what I'm about to talk about. I consider him one of the two Hex twins. The other Hex twins playing, Kamara's still playing. I mean, and he's doing well. So okay, we'll put him aside for now. But Gaffrey's a Hex. He's one of the Hex twins, and they're requiring so much of him in that offense. He's bound to be injured. He's bound to miss a handful of games. As of right now, they're not going to place him on IR. So there's no real telling how many weeks he's going to miss. But to trade for Hubbard, careful, because it depends on what you're trading. At the end of the day, if you can get him for a McCole Hardman and a Tyler Higby
and a slice of bread, yeah.
So peanut butter, you're good to go. But,
I'm with you.
So but if you have McCaffrey and you didn't jump on Hubbard,
right? So there are a couple things I want to talk about here. One, James, I'm giving you your flowers. If we go back to, I don't know, episode 5-ish, you brought up somebody, Chuba Hubbard, somebody you should have this year, a sleeper. We talked about sleepers, whatever episode that was. You were the one that mentioned Chuba Hubbard. We're like, no, he's not going to do anything. You said Christian McCaffrey will get hurt. I came back and said, listen, we don't predict people to get hurt. You're like, I predict this guy gets hurt. and he's hurt now. And Chuba Hubbard is a must own in every league, an absolute must own. Brandon's got a shot against me in our main league this week because he was first on the waiver wire, given his him being the only team to not win a game, and he picked up Chuba Hubbard. Is playing him against me. Now, with that being said, I only think Chuba Hubbard is around for about 2 weeks. If CMC was going to be gone for 3 weeks at least, they throw him on IR. CMC's 100% out this week. I think odds are he's out next week. So if you have him, stick it out. He's still the best player in fantasy. You're going to be okay. Try to weather the storm. One thing, if you are a CMC owner, stay tuned because we're going to talk about waiver wires at the end of this after we talk about some injuries and to get through our news or nothing segment.
And just in ESPN leagues, Chuba Hubbard is only owned in 72.5% of the leagues.
It's ridiculous.
Wow.
Those other leagues must be 6-man leagues or something because no common sense having a fantasy league where you have at least a few bench spots should you not have Chuba Hubbard. So everybody's got a McCole Hardman on their bench where they could drop for a must play in Chuba Hubbard.
Right.
So all right, moving on from that one. Justin Fields, a guy that we all like. He's a Buckeye, like James and I. I said probably 18 fantasy points. I thought he was going to run his butt off, like physically run. I knew the Browns would beat up on him, but did not expect what happened. James, news or nothing, people can drop Justin Fields at this point.
I think that's nothing. I mean, I don't know which way is up or down with that question, but I wouldn't drop him. I wouldn't
So
drop him.
long ways and sideways, you can go any way you like here.
Yes, I just wouldn't drop him. I would definitely keep him. If you have him right now, keep him. He's only owned in 45% of the leagues. And we're always talking ESPN here, guys. I don't have any Yahoos or any other, fantasy leagues. So he's owned in less than half of the leagues. But dude, his upside's heavy. At the end of the day, they get that Montgomery is a top 5 back right now. And believe me, and I'll be the first to eat crow because I talk smack about that guy. That guy legit ruined my life one year. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, he's running heavy. And that's only going to open up the offense. That's only going to open up some downfield runs for Justin, some downfield throws for Justin. So keep your eye on Justin Fields. I'm not selling yet. I'm not selling Justin Fields yet. However, I will remind everyone that we spoke about the Browns defense last week, and I started them in 4 leagues. I won 3 of those 4 games. I lost 1 due to some mumbo jumbo we could talk about later, but I only lost by 3 points. But their defense crushed them. And a rookie's first start, guys, look for I don't care what defense it is. I don't care if it's the worst defense in the world. In a rookie quarterback's first start, look at that D. Let alone a defense like the Browns that has the potential to do some damage. Myles Garrett, 4.5 sacks, 6 total sacks, dude. Come on.
Yeah, broke the franchise record. That was a big part, was their potential. I drafted Browns D in 2 or 3 of my leagues, but they weren't doing anything. So now that this week they finally came alive, they finally started gelling. Jadeveon learned how to play with Myles, and man, are they dangerous.
Sacks.
But I dropped them in the leagues that I drafted them because weeks 1 and 2, like, oh man, they're not doing what I was hoping they would.
They played KC and who was week 2?
Houston.
Houston. Barn burner against Houston.
Dude,
right.
Come on.
That was weird.
That's what did it for me. Was week 2? They didn't look good against the Texans. Even when Tyrod went out, they still didn't look good. That's when I dropped them. And they proved me wrong. So I really think it took time for them to get that chemistry, and that rookie quarterback gave it to them. So the leagues that I can get them back, I'll try. But to that point, I played the Raiders defense in all 4 leagues. And for the first time ever in my life, I lost in 4 leagues in the same week.
Wow.
Yeah. So you know what? I'm breaking ground, which is always nice, but not in the way I wanted to. Okay, a few other ones to get to. Gronk is hurt, but he's still a top tight end. If you got Gronk, are you more or less? It's a 2-parter. Are you looking for a backup tight end? And if so, should you be looking for the backup tight end for Tampa Bay, since Tom Brady is the #1 quarterback in fantasy right now?
So we didn't hear your take on Fields, by the way, but I'll give you my take on.
Okay. Backtrack real quick. Yes, you can drop Fields. I don't think he's going to start much. That line is not capable of protecting him. I'm not saying Fields won't be an NFL player. It might not. He may be around for the next 10 years, but that line in Chicago right now cannot protect him. And yes, I think we were all wrong about Justin Fields. He is not going to be a fantasy asset this year.
Breaking news, Tyler, T. Higgins is out officially for this week.
Who was that?
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins. Oh, yes, T. Higgins, right.
So he was doubtful going into today. I just looked, he's out.
But yeah, so I'm saying the Bucks tight end. Should you look for OJ Howard? Should you look for somebody else?
Hey, if your only tight end was Gronk and you pick up OJ Howard, not a bad play.
Is OJ Howard playing? I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
100%. So, but here's what I would suggest. Owned in only 78.8% of the leagues, and he probably was a waiver wire scoop. We'll talk about that later this week. Is Tyler Higby. I own him in a couple leagues, and I had him as a backup. But he is a good pickup right now because he scored 15 points last week, and that's why he got the waiver wire push. But if you had Gronk and you got a chance to get Tyler, I would put Gronk on your bench and I would pick up Tyler Higby. I would pick up Tyler Higby over OJ Howard because I feel like Tyler Higby is going to become a bigger part of that offense because he needs to be.
I agree. If you're looking for tight end, other options, Robert Tonyan has been dropped in a lot of leagues. And Aaron Rodgers is starting to look like the Aaron Rodgers before the man bun. So that's not a bad play. And also Tyler Conklin from Minnesota. Kirk Cousins is on fire. Kirk Cousins is the next one I want to get to. James, news or nothing, Kirk Cousins is a top QB1 right now because he's QB4 throughout fantasy standards. He's right now QB4. News or nothing that Kirk Cousins may finish in the top 5 this year in quarterbacks.
Man, I'm fancy with that question, but good question. He's playing lights out. He's got some players to throw balls to, and even with Dalvin out, still played a good game. So Madison, but come on, I mean Madison's a viable backup.
Madison's a great backup.
I started him in 2 leagues. I'm contemplating dropping him in one of them, but you never know. You never know because Dalvin could be the 3rd Hex twin. You never know. He's not a big boy.
See, and the Hex twin. When you mentioned it to me, I thought you meant CMC and Dalvin Cook. I don't think of Alvin Kamara as an injury-prone guy, but Dalvin Cook, I absolutely do.
No, I don't think he's injury-prone either, and neither was CMC until last year. I just, based on where those offenses are and the expectation in those guys and the size of the guy, I mean, they're my size. They're my size guys, and they're 180 pounds. I mean, I weigh 180, but they're 180-pound guys that are getting hit by 210 guys that run 4.3 40. They're getting smacked, and they're getting smacked on a regular. Running back, I mean, you saw Kareem Hunt this week, right? So, I mean, running back, not many running backs are built like that. Kareem Hunt's a thick kid. And he was running hard, but dude, he was getting cracked. I was so happy he was running. I'm Browns fan, but I was so happy he was running that hard, but I was worried he was going to get hurt, to be honest with you, because he was running that hard and getting hit by and talking smacked.
He was getting smacked too, but he was getting up and scoring touchdowns.
But that's why, just to justify why I consider Kamara, it's based on the percentage of time they're going to be looking to give him the rock and the amount of hits he's going to take based on his size. That's it. And Dalvin's not a big boy either. Quickest first step in football, just not a big dude.
Fair enough. Hey, news or nothing, Cooper Kupp and Mike Williams are the 2 best wide receivers in fantasy football from this point forward.
So I think Cooper Kupp is wide receiver 1. And I think he's the wide receiver 1 in LA altogether.
And that's the same question for Mike Williams, though. Is he so these are 2 guys that were supposed to be the wide receiver 2 on their team behind Robert Woods and Keenan Allen. Are they the wide receiver 1s on their team now?
So I disagree with what you just said about Woods and Kupp, because I think that's 6 in one hand. I mean, you could call either one wide receiver 1 or wide receiver 2, because Woods is going to have a game like Kupp had last week. But Cooper Kupp's a dog, and I think there's some good chemistry there. But dude, I think Keenan talks a lot, and I think that might be hurting his chance to get the rock. That's it. So I think that's news, and I think Williams is definitely the one there because that chemistry is going to continue.
So I look at the Chargers wide receiver situation as I did years ago with Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins. Everybody said DeAndre Hopkins was more talented and bigger, but he kind of had to learn the game.
Sure.
And even the people was like, oh, this kid DeAndre Hopkins is going to be the guy. Andre Johnson smoked him the first 2 years. DeAndre was not D-Hop that we know that is going in rounds 1 and 2 his first couple years in the league when he was with the Texans. He developed into that guy. And everybody said Mike Williams has that talent. Even the preseason, people were talking about Mike Williams is that guy that you get him in the 10th round, but he can be a wide receiver 1. And
look at what he's doing.
I took him in 3 of my 4 leagues. I didn't take him in our main league because I thought, man, if this dude does flop, I don't want it to come back and bite me. Let me get somebody else here. And obviously, but if you hit gold, you wish you would have done it. So I didn't in that one league. I should have. Of course, hindsight's always 2020. But man, Mike Williams is absolutely positively crushing it. And yes, him and Cooper Kupp are absolutely the wide receiver ones on their team. And they have been up to this point, they are going forward. And I'll even go this much further, bold prediction. I think they both finish in the top 12 this year. I think they finish as wide receivers in the top 12 in fantasy this year. Both Cooper, as long as they stay healthy, both Cooper Kupp and Mike Williams finish. That being said, if you're listening to this and you could trade for somebody that you thought was going to be a wide receiver one, but you now know it's just not in the cards for him, trade for that 10th round pick. It will pay you dividends.
So Mike Williams last week, probably the week before last, was probably owned in less than 50% of leagues. And he is owned in, yeah, dude, before last week, not this past Sunday.
He was in every league I'm in. He's been owned in all of them.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Owned. I've not seen a league where he's not owned. He went late, but
I saw him on the waiver wire in 2 of my leagues, and
playing with goofballs over there.
50% and week after week 2. Okay. He's owned in 95. He's owned in 95%.
Hey, news or nothing. Trey Sermon finally had his breakout week, and he's the running back 1 going forward.
Keep at it. Hey, look, I'm high on Sermon. I'm a Buckeye, is what it is. But keep your eye on the running backs in San Fran, man. It's a gamble. Just say.
I love you some Trey Sermon, but I'm going nothing until I get a consistent performance. And Elijah Mitchell is on the roster, and they still get Trey Sermon more carries. I'm not believing he's the guy. News or nothing. Emmanuel Sanders is a viable option going forward. He had 2 touchdowns, crushed this week. He went from wide receiver nothing to wide receiver 26 in full PPR. In full PPR, he had 26 points, 5 receptions, 94 yards, 2 touchdowns last week. With Josh Allen, excuse me.
Yeah, well, Allen had a hell of a game, and look, you know, at the end of the day, there's a very loud wide receiver 1 on that team, and he is, you know, he's going to get safety shade, he's going to get double teamed, and he's going to have his breakout game. So don't sell Diggs, but Emmanuel Sanders is not the wide receiver 1. He is a viable 3, but. I wouldn't even go 2. I think there's a lot better talent at 2 than Emmanuel Sanders. Emmanuel Sanders is going to do this, and you know it. He's going to have a game like he did this week, and then he's going to dud you next week, probably dud you the week after, and then he'll have another game like that. So just keep your eye on matchups.
Is he the wide receiver 2 on his team, or is Cole Beasley?
You know, and it's funny the way it projects against teams too. And you guys will look at this, and you guys will want to start based on projected score, which is not good, but as a rookie, you should probably look at that. It's a good starting point.
Absolutely.
I think Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley right now are probably even starters. So if you said starters sit, Emmanuel Sanders and Cole Beasley, it doesn't matter who you pick. I'd agree with you.
So looking at their projections, Cole Beasley is projected 12.1 this week in full PPR, and Emmanuel Sanders projected 12.1 for Cole Beasley and 10.9 for Emmanuel Sanders. Yeah. And they both on the season they have the exact same amount of fantasy points right now.
So like I said, starter sit. You know, it's too early to call with Emmanuel, but again, Emmanuel Sanders is a good receiver to have on your team. He's a good guy to play on that weird bye week where you got a couple cats on bye. He's going to score some points, and it looks like the way that Allen played last week, if he keeps that running, I'm buying all the Bills receivers.
So I have 2 more for you. News or nothing, Josh Gordon is going to be wide receiver 2 in Kansas City and needs to be owned in all formats.
There's multiple reasons why I do not even want to talk about this, because I think at one point, Flash was my favorite receiver that ever caught a football. And
Yeah, I was there too. I felt that too.
and he broke my heart so many times.
He
that,
smoked my heart. You see what I did there?
Yeah, yeah. That I hate his guts. But here's the thing: he's playing in a high-powered offense. How many snaps is he going to see? That remains to be seen. And how many games is he going to play before he, decides to roll another blunt? I don't know. You don't know, dude. He's such a fishy cat. If you have an open roster slot, like you got a guy out for the season that you haven't dropped yet, cool, pick him up. But I wouldn't run out and buy Josh Gordon. I wouldn't run out and buy him.
Yeah, so I kind of feel very similar to you. In every league, I have somebody on my team where I'm like, I'm not really going to play this guy unless I'm in a bind. And I dropped that guy in every league I could and picked up Josh Gordon because the potential is there. He's 100% boomer bust. He is, I look at it very similar to when Antonio Brown played those last few games with the Patriots 2 years ago. He can come in and give you 15 or 25 points. He can come in, maybe catch a few balls. He can come in and do nothing. Really have no idea. But what I do know is that he's got the best quarterback in the league throwing to him now in the most high-powered offense. So with two of the best pass catchers on his team taking most of the coverage in Travis Kelce and Tyreek Hill. So a guy who is that talented, if he can get close to what he was, he has the potential to put some points up. So if you got the spot, if you got somebody you're not going to play, go ahead and roster Josh Gordon. All right. One last one. From this point forward, Michael Carter for the New York Jets can't win a game, Jets is a viable flex play.
Who?
Michael Carter, the rookie running back for the Jets.
Oh, absolutely. He's starting to gain some steam. That kid will be fine. And if you got open flex spot this week, I think I started. I mean, as a matter of fact, I think I'm starting him in a league. Matter of fact, so yeah, I would be a hypocrite should I say otherwise.
Yes, so he's projected to have a pretty good week this week, and Tevin Coleman, as we all expected, has been down and hurt like he typically does. He's got that job. The trouble is Zach Wilson needs to learn how to complete a few passes so the box isn't stacked against this. So you got a rookie running back and a rookie quarterback. That quarterback needs to complete some passes in order for that running back to get some space. But at some point, he's going to get paid dirt. He's going to put some points up.
Yeah,
I don't 100% feel that he's a viable flex option right now, but he should definitely be rostered. I think give it maybe a couple more weeks, and I'm going to say yes, because the guy's got the potential and he's earned the job. Just like everybody thought he would do. He's the running back one now. He earned the top of the depth chart, but until Zach Wilson can complete some passes, I feel nervous playing anybody, trusting anybody or anything. Only thing I like about the Jets is I like playing the defense that's playing the Jets. All right. So,
but hold on, but just to let you know, I just want to add something to that. B mentioned earlier, and I'll get, I think this is what B would say in this situation. They do need to pound the ball, and they will in order to create some space. And I think that, based on what they've been doing, it isn't working. So which is trying to create space by throwing the ball. I think they kind of flip that and get back to business on the ground. So I think this week is a decent start against Tennessee. And we'll see.
I hope so. So let's go over the top guys right now. The top guys in full point PPR formats are Derrick Henry, top running back, Kelsey, top tight end, Cooper Kupp, top wide receiver, Tom Brady, top quarterback, Saints defense, top defense, Las Vegas Raiders kicker, top kicker. So there are all those. Which ones do you think have the chance of staying season long? which one is surprising to you, and which one do you think it's a fluke?
Saints defense is a double. It's a surprising fluke. I think the only top player you just named that is surprising is Cooper Kupp. It's the only one. I mean, we all knew he'd do well, but with all the weapons that they have in Los Angeles, for him to be the top wide receiver is surprising. But that's pretty much it. Everybody else, we could have made an argument before the season that they'd be the top, right?
Right. So I actually disagree. I think Cooper Kupp at full point PPR was always thought of as going to be a wide receiver one, maybe not the one, but a wide receiver one. But if he did finish one with this new quarterback, Matt Stafford, I don't think it's shocking. The shocking one to me is Tom Brady. Tom Brady has not been the top guy in fantasy for 38 years. It was his first 15 years in the league, which was now 38 years ago. Was he a relevant top 5 fantasy play? But now he's number one. And I don't see it at the ripe age of 64. He continues this play. I don't think he does it. But all right. With that being said, Brandon did mention something else. So let's bring it up. Brandon was talking about how I said Jalen Hurts is going to finish as, I think I said a top 6 quarterback. I think that was my prediction. He finishes in the top half of QB1s this year. And he said Dak Prescott will finish higher than him. So Dak Prescott is QB 14 and Jalen Hurts is QB 6. Even after, and on their Monday night performance, the Cowboys smoked the Eagles, but Jalen Hurts still scored more points. Bringing the point up of, it doesn't matter what the team does. We're talking about individual players here. We're talking about fantasy freaking football. Sometimes people have a hard time understanding that. It's not about the team. The Eagles aren't good. They're no good. But Jalen Hurts has that extra move of running around, and he's going to get you points. He's outscoring Lamar Jackson this year. Jalen Hurts is having a pretty decent year. Kirk Cousins is also outscoring a lot of these people, which I don't know if I trust Kirk Cousins that far, but if we have Kirk Cousins as a backup quarterback, I'll take it. What are your thoughts on the whole Dak, Jalen Hurts, and let's throw Kirk Cousins in there?
I mean, I'm like Switzerland. I just, look, Dak's going to have a good year, dude. He's going to have some better games. He'll probably pass Hurts. I do like Hurts as a competitor, though. He's still got that same, drive that he did at Bama and Oklahoma. And you got to appreciate that in these young athletes, especially in fantasy, because those guys put up points for you. Look at Kareem Hunt this week, look, I think they finished pretty close, to be honest with you. And again, I'm like Switzerland. I got Dak in a league. I don't have Hurts in any leagues. And I don't really care. I mean, hey, I think they both finish. I could see them both finish in top 10.
Yeah. I think it's very realistic. Hey, news or nothing. Time to trade away Jonathan Taylor. Are we trading away Jonathan Taylor? I think if you're a Jonathan Taylor owner, you need to see what you can get for him. Test the market out.
I like it. I like testing the market. You know what? As a matter of fact, I would actually entertain some trades for Jonathan Taylor in a couple of my leagues that I went that I pulled the no running back draft, right? Yeah. So I'm super heavy with receivers. So I would entertain Jonathan Taylor because I think Jonathan Taylor still got some juice and Marlon Mack's gone.
Right. But Jonathan Taylor's just not getting it done. And then another one.
Hold on. We talked about him before the season and you liked him.
But he's not, I wasn't high on him. I had him as like a high end RB2, but he's not even RB2. He's RB 26 right now.
Gotcha. But again, it's 3 weeks in. Do you think Cooper Kupp finishes wide receiver 1?
I think he finishes as a wide receiver 1, meaning top 12. Probably not as the number 1, but there's a good chance he finishes top 6. I mean, this pace, Stafford's looking like an MVP. But
I'm not selling JT yet.
Are we selling anybody on Tennessee's offense other than Derrick Henry? Are we trading away Ryan Tannehill at this point? Are we trading away AJ Brown, who's currently wide receiver 69? Are we trading away Julio Jones, who is wide receiver 46? I think it was. Are we getting rid of these? Yeah, 46. Are we getting rid of these guys and seeing what we can get for it? Because
I think Julio Jones, market tester. I think Brown hurt, so not really a market tester based on injury. And he's got a hammy too. Julio's got a hammy issue too. So, I still think Brown turns into. I still think Brown finishes top 15. I think Julio probably still finishes top 25. But give that offense time to gel. And bro, if Derrick Henry's running like the king, sorry, dude, they're gonna get the rock. It is what it is. Just get healthy, drink some water, get your electrolytes, keep rocking.
I have AJ Brown in one of my leagues, and I didn't want to take any of them, but I had about 8 wide receivers above AJ Brown. I think I've had him ranked as number 9. And it got to my pick at the end of the second round when I had the first overall pick. I took CMC, and the best wide receiver available was AJ Brown. So on the same team, I had CMC and AJ Brown. Needless to say, I lost in that league. My team went off in other areas. So my first round pick gave me 5 before he went out. My second round pick gave me 0 before he went out in AJ Brown. But Josh Allen gave me, I think, 44 in that league. Mike Williams, who I played, gave me, I think, 33 in that league. So other players went off. I still ended up losing by 12 because I had to combine 5 points from my first and second round picks.
But dude, but hey, listen. Don't sell based on injury. Listen, if you'd have sold on Nick Chubb last year, the dude missed leading the league in rushing and missed 4 games. So
yeah, but no, my point is Julio and AJ haven't performed at all in Ryan Tannehill. That offense, with the exception of Derrick Henry, has looked atrocious.
In that offense, is 15 points a good game for a receiver in a 1 point.
And a full point PPR is 15 points. I think I would say that's doable. I would expect more for
probably his projection. That's a boom. So if
where you drafted AJ Brown, you're expecting a little bit more because you drafted him so high.
It depends on the matchup, right? So if boom or bust is 14.2 points and he goes 14.9, it's a boom.
It's a win. Yeah, it's a win.
So he did that game 1. Game 2, didn't play as many snaps, did about 2/3 of what he was supposed to do. He did like 8 points.
7 in full point PPR week 2.
Okay, and then last week injury. So it's nothing at this point. We'll see how the season continues. But dude, that offense has got, on paper, has got some horsepower. And week 3 is not the week to panic. Just saying, especially with injury.
Okay. All right. So let's get into waiver wire, and then we can touch on trades a little bit as well. Cool. If there are any good trade ideas you'd like. So who on the waiver wire are we looking at? So say you are a CMC owner and you need, let's stick to running back. You need a running back, and Chuba Hubbard was grabbed because you had CMC. You already won a couple games, but you got people like Brandon who hasn't won anything this year, and he's first on the waiver wire. So he got Chuba Hubbard. So who else can we look at to try to fill a roster spot right now?
I like that kid in Philly, Gainwell over Miles Sanders. He's available in just about every one of my leagues. And it looks like they're giving him the rock. I mean, granted, he only scored 6.4, but they're passing him the rock. He had, well, they threw him the rock last week, 4 for 34. He only had 6.4, but all that tells me is they're going to give him the rock some more. But let me tell you a quick story about waiver wire and the importance of waiver wire. So I tried to pick up Chuba Hubbard.
Right. As we all should have.
all 4 of my leagues, right? But I'm doing pretty well in all of them. I'm only in first place in one league, and it just so happens to be the league that I drafted one of the Hex twins against everything I believe in, right? But he was available at 2, and I couldn't stop. And it's a full point PPR, and I couldn't stop thinking about what Julian said. If I have a draft pick and CMC is available, I'm taking him. So literally, that's ringing in my head, and it's ringing in my head. So I pick him. I pick him up number 2. The guy who had first picked Derrick Henry. Good pick. Can't argue with it, even in full point PPR. Yeah. So I grab him. I'm undefeated in that league. It's the only league I'm in first place. But like I said, I tried to grab Chuba Hubbard in every league. It is the only league I got him in. Now, let me tell you about this league. I've been in this league 8 years. I've won it 6 times and finished second. Well, this is my 8th year once, right? So I call this my easy money league, right?
Yeah, sounds like it.
But the crazy thing,
what grade are the people in that you play with?
And they've all been playing fantasy forever. Now, maybe they don't like it as much as I do, but I like taking their money. Yeah. And here's the crazy thing. The crazy thing is I even put on our chat Chuba Hubbard waiver wire, literally on Monday, before you could even attempt. So like I'm giving these guys some nuggets and nobody even moves. So look, if you're playing fantasy and you're not competitive, stop playing fantasy, or
at least stop. Just play for free. Stop buying into money leagues. Don't do that.
Because at the end of the day, a guy like me, a shark like me, is gonna eat you. And if you can't miss a guy like Chuba Hubbard, you can't miss that. I mean, what's his projection this week? It's like 15 points or something. And the guy's projected to score 15 points as a running back in a PPR league. And dude, what would CMC be projected to score this week? Probably 17.
No, he's projected over 20 every week in full point PPR. He's projected at least like 22 every week. But this week, Chuba Hubbard is projected 13 in full point PPR.
Still, who else are they gonna do what they do with CMC? Who else are they gonna run those plays with? He's the guy.
Right. So the point behind so all of that being said, if you didn't get Chuba, the next highest on the waiver wire, if you're lucky, Michael Carter's there, and he's projected 8 point something. Right behind him is his backfield running mate Ty Johnson, projected 7.4. But like James said, Kenneth Gainwell, honestly, I think he's a better back than Miles Sanders. He's just not getting the work. So one thing Brandon and I had to say time and time again to get it through to James was opportunity. Opportunity is what's important. And Kenneth Gainwell, I absolutely think is better running back than Miles Sanders, but he's not quite getting the opportunity yet. I would definitely say roster him if you have the spot. Again, there are a lot of people would be nice to have, but if you only have so many roster spots, he's on the waiver wire in my league. I would like to have him. I just don't have the space for him right now, but he can go off any week. This week they have Kansas City. They're probably going to be playing from behind. Kenneth Gainwell, I think, is a better pass catching back. So maybe Jalen Hurts is dumping off to him. With that, Royce Freeman is in the backfield with Chuba Hubbard. If they don't feel comfortable giving Chuba Hubbard that whole load, Royce Freeman's not a terrible pickup. And then we also have think about Mark Ingram or David Johnson. One of them are gonna go off because they have Buffalo, who's been giving up a good amount of points. So I don't know which one. And then Gio Bernard. Gio Bernard scored a touchdown this week. These are all guys in the waiver wire running back wise. And then don't forget JJ Taylor or Brandon Bolden for New England, because James White is now out for the year. So one of these guys are going to step up as the pass catching back in New England. I don't know which one. I'm not going to recommend one because I didn't put in for either one. I don't know which one it's going to be. Next week on the show, we'll say everybody needs to get that guy because we'll know. But I'd be lying if I said I had any clue. One of these.
I probably will not tell you to do that because I don't trust anything that happens in the backfield in New England.
See, if you're in full point PPR, it's always good to own the pass catching back who's been James White. But again, he's out for the year now. So it's going to be JJ Taylor or Brandon Bolden. I don't know which one that is going to be, but those are both guys to keep your eye on. And then also, if you have space and you're like, okay, I'm weak at running back, I committed everything on Christian McCaffrey, and I've just been kind of like sliding up my running back 2 spot and playing a wide receiver in my flex. And now I have no running backs. Play to the edge of other running backs, star running backs getting hurt. Like getting an Alexander Madison on your bench, or a Roundtree from Larry Roundtree III from the Chargers. Because if Eckler goes out, he's getting all the work. Things like that. Samaje Perine. If Joe Mixon goes out, Samaje Perine has to get the work. He's the only guy there. Gio Bernard's not there anymore. Start to have that sort of mentality, because eventually these guys are going to go out. Latavius Murray is not doing what I thought he was going to be doing. I don't know what the Baltimore backfield is doing.
It's been 1 week. It's been 1 week.
He's been there all 3 weeks. He's played all 3 games.
But you started talking about him last week.
No, we talked about him. He played week 1.
Right. I got you. But you started talking about him heavy last week.
Are we talking about on the podcast? Sure, because we didn't do a podcast after week 1. We waited 2 weeks to do the first episode. But between you and I've been saying Latavius Murray is going to be the guy, and he's not doing what I anticipated. Just know, if you've got space, Devonta Freeman is also on that roster now. So there are other guys if you need running back help. All right, enough on the running backs. James, who else waiver wire wise should you be watching?
So I like, honestly, Kirk Cousins available in a couple of my leagues. I mean, hey, you know what I mean? If you're starting Tannehill or something right now, and his two big receivers are down, that might be a good swap. And dude, I like an Ohio quarterback right now. This week, I like an Ohio quarterback, even with T. Higgins out. I like Joey Burrow, dude. And he's available in a lot of leagues. So again, if you have one of those C-tier quarterbacks, and you can play the quarterback carousel, because I do that with defenses, and I've done it with quarterbacks too. Just drop and add quarterbacks week to week, just based on matchups. And I've won leagues doing that. So look at Joey.
I have too. Yeah.
I think Joey goes off in prime time. I just think Joey goes off in prime time, and I think his boy Chase gets big numbers this week. And dude, and on that team, I think their defense does very well this week. And I think on that team, I got to eat some more crow, because Joey Mixon is a top 5 back right now. Where's he at? Number 2?
I'll tell you right now, but yes, I'm not a Joe Mixon fan. Oh, he's number 15 in full point PPR. He's number 15, but he's recently.
No, rushing yards. Where's he in rushing yards?
In rushing yards. Okay. It was week 1. He went off. Week 2, he only had 7 points. Week 3, he had 10.
So, I mean, I'm not a big Mixon fan, but I think that offense does well this week. I think their defense does well this week, and I'm buying Joey Burrow, and probably most of your league. In
standard scoring, Joe Mixon is number 11, so he's a running back 1. But yeah, so when James was alluding to streaming, I've done the same in 1 leagues. I've streamed quarterbacks, I've streamed tight ends, I've streamed kickers, and I've streamed defenses, and I always stream defenses. The bet, it's not a difficult thing to do. By week 3, which is where we're at right now, you know who the crappy teams are. You know, hey, this team gives up points to tight ends. They can't seem to stop a tight end. So that tight end who's tight end 26 right now, he's probably gonna get a touchdown this week. So I'm gonna play him. And typically when you do that, that guy gets a touchdown that week, because that team sucks at guarding tight ends. Same with I'm gonna place the defense going against the Jets. I'm gonna play the defense going against the Jaguars. Which I am playing. They don't always play defenses on Thursday nights. I'm not a huge believer in that. That's more of a Brandon thing. I think if the team playing on Thursday night sucks, but you can play the defense going against them. So I'm playing Bengals defense in multiple leagues this week.
All day. Oh, you're playing them this week?
Yeah, I'm playing them. I picked up the Bengals defense in 2 of my 4 leagues.
I would.
Yeah.
That's not a bad play.
Against the Jaguars, absolutely. I think it's a great move. Same with kickers. I personally try to get I usually have like a top 5 or 6 kickers. I like, maybe it's the top 4, but there are top, like a few guys that I like. I try to get them. When I can't get them, then I stream. One of my 4 leagues, I was able to get the top guy, Justin Tucker. And in our main league, I have Justin Tucker. And then my other 3, I have Greg Zuerlein, Legatron. So I try to do that, but I'm not mad. I used to always stream kickers. It's kind of a guessing game, but if kickers seem to be scoring a lot of points against this guy, there's nothing wrong with streaming when the options are out there.
Yeah, based on what he just said, the takeaway is matchups. That's what it is.
Right.
Matchups. So, and even with a kicker, a team that has, that typically will get in the end zone, but they're playing against the number 1 defense in the league, they're still going to score some points. You'll probably get a couple 4-point, 5-point field goals out of it. So your kicker scores 10 or more points. That's a good week for your kicker. My kicker in most of my leagues last week was the Browns kicker, and I started the Browns defense with them. I do that whenever I can. I like that if the matchup is right. And that's why I won in 2 of my leagues, because 18 and 19 points with both of them. So 37 points with your kicker and your defense. Pretty damn good week, man.
All right, so let me talk about wide receivers real quick, and then we'll touch on trade options, and we'll wrap it up here.
Waiver wire options.
Yeah, waiver wire wide receiver options. One guy I want to point out had his first 100-yard receiving game in I don't know how many years, but AJ Green in the last 2 weeks, in week 2 put up 13 points in PPR, week 3 put up 16 points in PPR. And he's still available in the majority of ESPN leagues. Not a bad streaming option if you need a wide receiver. Marquez Callaway, I think if you have him, you could drop him at this point. He had a good week 3, but he's not what we thought he was going to be. At least doesn't appear to be. If you need wide receiver help, guys that are available, AJ Green, Zach Pascal. I think Zach Pascal is still going to be the wide receiver 1. And I give you a poor offense, but he's the wide receiver 1 until T.Y. Hilton gets back. And there are other guys you could be reaching a little bit, but Van Jefferson always has a chance in that explosive Rams offense. And Gage, if Gage is healthy, I see him on a lot of waiver wires, the wide receiver 2 behind Calvin Ridley in Atlanta. Calvin Ridley's been also another disappointment so far this year, but who else do you like wide receiver wise?
That whole offense has been a total disappointment this year.
I've got Mike Davis, I think, in every one of my leagues, and it has not been good to me. And
it has not been good to me. Man, you know what? Rager in Philly, because of Hurts. I think he's going to go there. God, man. But AJ Green, dude, I can't stop. Like, dude, it's because Kyler Murray is like my personal 2021 fantasy MVP right now. This kid is on fire. I mean, in the leagues that I have him in, that are 6 points, 6-point touchdowns, dude, he's scoring 40 plus a week, dude. I mean, this kid's unbelievable. I hate to say it because he's 5'4", but what are you gonna do? So I think, hey, you're right. AJ Green, I think that's your best pickup off the waiver wire right now if you see him.
Okay. Is there anybody else you like any matchups you like this week?
I mean, I like Tennessee versus the Jets, and again, I just, that's hypocritical based on what I said earlier, but I just like their defense against a rookie quarterback. I smell a pick 6 or 2. You know what I mean?
I'll give you a couple I'm looking at. So I like Buffalo and any of their wide receiver options against the Texans this week. I think I'm going to stream Emmanuel Sanders one league. He's available. I may stream him as a flex play in full point PPR. It just seems like a nice play. I like Mike Williams, but again, and also Justin Herbert against Las Vegas. Seems like the Raiders, watching the Raiders give that many points to the Miami Dolphins with the backup quarterback, I am now liking any matchup against the Raiders. Raiders are putting up more points, and they're 3-0. They're putting up more points, but their defense is not there. I agree with James. I like the Bengals options this week against Jacksonville. I don't know Derrick Henry, of course, but I don't know who else in Tennessee I would play. They're going against the Jets. If there was a week to play Ryan Tannehill, it'd be this week, but who the heck are the other wide receivers in Tennessee?
Who was number 1 last week? Who's number 1 for them?
I think his name is Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Because AJ Brown and I think Julio as well are both out. Oh, they have Josh Reynolds though, but he hasn't played.
Reynolds. And you know what? Julio's going to play though. AJ will not play this week.
Well, either one of them, I think, finally have a good game against the Jets. So I like that matchup. It's other than that, there should be some pretty competitive games this week. You know, the Browns are going to get to Kirk Cousins. I don't know that I like Kirk Cousins that much this week against the Browns, but Justin Jefferson is going to get free. If he does release Justin Jefferson, the secondary isn't as good for the Browns as the front line. So Justin Jefferson, I think, is still probably a decent play. I'm waiting for, when are we going to see a breakout from these Steelers players that are supposed to be any good, between Najee Harris and Chase Claypool? I don't know when that's going to happen, but TJ Hawkinson. I like TJ Hawkinson against the Bears. I don't know. Are there any other ones that stick out to you? And then trades. What trades? So you said you're interested in trading away Jonathan Taylor at this point, or are you interested in hearing trades for?
Entertaining. Hey, if you're running back heavy and you want to see what's out there, see if you can get a badass wide receiver 1, pardon my French, do it. But I'm saying that I would entertain that trade. So look at, if you're looking to pull a trade, look for somebody who's loaded at a position that you need.
Yeah, I agree. So somebody I wouldn't mind selling high on right now, if I have them, is Chris Carson. And it's because I don't personally believe that Chris Carson stays healthy throughout a season, and he's been doing really well. So I wouldn't mind selling high on Chris Carson, test the market, see if you can get something even better, especially if you're running back heavy. Another one, I wouldn't mind trying to get rid of Saquon, but that's just because he's already shown he's going to get hurt. A guy I would buy right now is Jamar Chase. I wouldn't mind trading for Jamar Chase. I liked him preseason all the way until I actually watched him in the preseason. And then that comment came out where he said the NFL ball is tougher to catch. When he said that, I said, oh no, I want no part of that. I think he might've been joking.
Yeah, but with T. Higgins laboring and now out for 2 weeks in a row, basically, he's the one. You know what I mean? You got Tyler Boyd.
Yeah, I'm saying I would buy Jamar Chase. It was seeing him drop all the balls in preseason, and then him saying that, he scared me away. But at this point, I would buy him.
Who did you drop for Green in Chez's league? You literally just did that at 10:38.
Yeah, I had an extra roster spot. Already. I dropped somebody earlier in the day. Oh, I dropped Zach Pascal because I think about Zach Pascal, but I'd rather have AJ Green because he's coming around. Another guy to buy low on right now is George Kittle. George Kittle is going to come around. He's going to finish as a top at least 7 tight end.
And some owners are getting frustrated with his production. So you could probably buy low there. You could probably buy low.
But now a guy I would trade away though, and because the name, we're still only 3 weeks in, coming into the 4th week tomorrow, the name of Kyle Pitts is still there. People are still saying the name, but man, that guy and that offense are not putting up numbers. I would try to test the market, see if you can get something better for Kyle Pitts.
Dude, I wouldn't have drafted him. I told you guys that. I told you he was a bust. I told you.
I had him as my number 6 tight end. And man, I had him way too high there. I luckily, and the one consistency I have in every single one of all 4 of my leagues is TJ Hawkinson. So I was lucky enough to get him in all 4. I think I got him in the 6th round in every single league too, which is great. Another guy to buy low on. People still are low on David Montgomery. I don't know why, but if you can buy low on people, I know you and I are not. I see that, but people, a lot of people, many people, and somebody in one of these leagues that you're in, that somebody's listening to, they're low on David Montgomery. Throw a trade out there, test the market, see if you can get him, because the name isn't still marquee. So see if you can get that. Also, Joe Mixon has proven to be that guy. Yeah, people like maybe he fell to James or I, and we're not Joe Mixon fans, but he's putting up those numbers. Don't be afraid to buy low on him. A wide receiver to buy low on, Corey Davis. Corey Davis, despite how poorly the Jets are, a good flex play. So don't give up too much, but he's a good flex play in full point PPR. Another one I would buy low on right now because he has not broken out. Like, all the talk is about Cooper Kupp. Robert Woods is still a very viable wide receiver too to play.
He will have those games that Cooper had last week.
Games plural. That's right. Games plural. So if you can buy low on Robert Woods right now, that's not a bad play. You have any more trade ideas?
No. I think, well, I like Kareem Hunt. I like seeing what somebody will take for Kareem Hunt, because I'll be honest with you, man, either one of those 2 Browns running backs are a start. Week to week, they are a start. It just is what it is. And I think Kareem Hunt, based on where he went in the draft, you might have somebody where he's might be their flex, and that person's probably short on receivers. So if you're heavy on receivers, take a look, Smitty.
Especially if you're in a full point PPR league, then Kareem Hunt is a great play as wide receiver 2 or flex, because that offense is really clicking. All right, I think that's all we got for this week. James, you got any last minute little tidbits for him?
No, man, just go Cleveland, and I'm really loving the Cardinals offense. Just saying.
All right. I'm going to throw this out there. I don't believe that Tyler Lockett keeps up the pace. I think somebody else to sell high on is Tyler Lockett, but I never believe in him.
In closing, let's continue the podcast for another 27 minutes.
In closing, I say sell high on Tyler Lockett, because you could probably get something really high for him.
Or buy low on DK Metcalf.
Buy low on DK Metcalf. Great advice as well. I concur on both those points. All right. Good luck this week. I think I might need it after a rough go at it last week. I think I play the Lavender Brothers this week. I think I play Brandon in one league. I play his brother in the other. Yeah,
that's why I didn't want to be. That's why I didn't want to be on the podcast today.
Yeah, I'm hoping.
And hey, since you're in closing, I'm going to throw this one out there. As bad as the Steelers' offense is, I do believe that Claypool is still a start. He's still a start. Just at any PPR league you're in, half point, full point, he's going to put up the points that he's projected to put up. Why? Because they don't really got anybody else.
Yeah, Deontay's hurt. I think Juju's hurt. And buy low on Najee Harris. Najee Harris, I mean, if you start the season today, I bet Najee finishes as a running back 1. The talent and the opportunity are there. And that's all you can ask for. So, and but yeah, screw the Steelers. They suck. I love that they suck. But Ben Roethlisberger's his prime was a good 17 years ago. So.
Somebody said on Get Up on Monday morning, he can't throw the ball 20 yards down the field. We should close on that. Hit the waiver wire.
Hit the waiver wire. Ben Roethlisberger also raped people. Nobody talks about that, but we'll talk about it. All right. Good luck this week. It's been the Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast. See you later.
Peace.
Fantasy Freaking Football Podcast, yeah.